Eckhart.
Aye.
Aye. And it is amended. Okay, then I need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Diane and a second by Val to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Council workshop report. Members present from the July 8th, 2013 Hampton City Council workshop. Again, members present were Crowley, Lukensmeyer, Eckhart, and Harms. Absent were Davies and Hogaback. Also present were myself, City Manager Ron Dunt, Public Works Director Doug Tarr, Police Chief Schaefer. Pledge of Allegiance cited. For the time for public comment, there were no comments. Craig Eckhart requested the council consider developing a local program similar to the state-sponsored STEP program with the goal of reducing the number of vehicle operators without the required driver's license and auto insurance. Discussion on this type of program will be revisited once the police department is fully staffed in a couple of months. Craig Eckhart asked the council to consider taking steps to increase penalties for habitual nuisance violators. After much discussion of citations, abatements, and extensions, the consensus was to seek guidance from the city attorney regarding the matter. Ron and Chief will meet with Mike Cross. Ron Dunt presented handouts showing compost brush site fees with associated revenue, expenses, and potential fee increases. He explained that the current fee of 50 cents per month charged on water bills is insufficient with the annual revenues running nearly $4,000 short of what annual compost and brush site expenses are. After much discussion, the consensus was to bring a draft ordinance amendment for a fee increase to the July 11th, 2013 council meeting for consideration. Council noted that their desire was to only consider an increase in an amount necessary to balance revenues with expenditures. Ron then reminded council of discussion during budget time, which pointed out recent Franklin County landfill fee increases over the last few years. Franklin County is required to assess each community for ongoing post-closure expenses. Since 2010, the annual assessment from Franklin County has risen from $11,900 to a 2013 assessment of $22,800. The city's current landfill fee on water bills results in an annual revenue of $17,600. This revenue is also is intended to cover an annual fee of $6,000 charged to the city by North Iowa Landfill for community use of their facility. Although the current fee was sufficient for a few years ago, the recent increases have resulted in an annual shortfall of $11,100 for the city. To meet future expenses, the city should consider increasing the fee to a level at least equal to annual expenditures. Consensus of the council was to have staff draft an ordinance amendment for an increase to the July 11th, 2013 council meeting for consideration. The council again noted their desire was to only increase in an amount necessary to balance revenues with expenditures. Council then discussed limiting hours of operation for garbage haulers within the city after a complaint regarding Bell Sanitation collecting in the evening hours. Staff had previously invited garbage haulers to the council workshop for input on the matter. Representatives from Waste Management and DNL Sanitation were present and offered input. Consensus of the council was to have staff present an ordinance amendment limiting hours of pickup to 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Chief Schaefer requested council input on seeking union approval to pay a starting police officer at the 2-year pay wage if the candidate had numerous years of experience. The rationale behind the request is that hiring an experienced officer eliminates the need for the city to spend $4,000 to $6,000 on law enforcement academy training, as well as attracting an officer with experience. The council agreed that they see the value in hiring an experienced officer and would support such a move to seek union approval. With no other business to discuss, I concluded the meeting at 7:11 p.m. With that, we have public comment time now. Is there any public comment in the audience tonight?
Yes, sir.
Come on down.
I'm fine right where I'm at.
We'd like to have you though. We record the meetings. We'd like to have you at the mic.
Man, you guys don't know what I've been doing the last 2 days. Okay,
Thank you.
there now, I'll cover it. In reference to your garbage proposal, the thing is, evidently was complaining about Bell and all of this. We went this long, there's never been an accident by a garbage truck to my knowledge. I talked to police, Bob Schaefer, and he said as far as he knows. So why are we going to restrict the times that they can pick up or whatever? Because now you're going to hinder Bell or anybody else that's out of this area. In the wintertime, they're going to get here later because of the roads. At 6 o'clock, they didn't pick my garbage up last night until today, or Tuesday night until Wednesday night. to me, there's no need to have a time frame. The people know when to pick up garbage. Yes, there was an incident. We turned around 2 days ago and had a car hit a kid. We have more vehicles hitting kids than we have garbage trucks because they go a heck of a lot slower. You know, why tie the garbage people's hands? And two, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I don't want no garbage truck down my street. I've called Waste Management. They had a driver, and he was good today. He only went 3 times down my street, but then that was 7:30. But he went down my street and in front of my house 7 times between 5 and 5:30. That's horse crap. And Candy Landy, she called and stuff, because I said, I don't have to be up at no 5:30 in the morning. And for him to go down, he picked up shaft wraps, go down 6th Street past Mary Barnes, turn on 9th Avenue, pick up Sucos, come back, come in front of my house. Still ain't picked up Mary Barnes's, and he's done past it already. Go down, he turns up there 7th Avenue and picks up MacArthur's, then comes back, comes around and comes in front of my house again. And then he goes down and then goes around the block, comes back down, and finally gets Mary's. Then he comes back and goes around, then he comes back around in front of my house. Then he goes the other way, 7th Avenue, goes around. Then he picks up LaRue's. LaRue's has waste a DNL. And understand that they're here at 5 in the morning, that's fine. But by putting a time, you're giving them a blessing to be in front of my house at 5 o'clock in the morning. And there's no need for it. And what about when kids start going back to school? Especially the little ones. Now they're out of school, so it doesn't matter if they get woke up. But when they go back to school, they're not up at no 5 o'clock in the morning, the little kids. I'd say we just leave it as is. You had one incident. If you have further incidents, then do something. But on one incident, you have snowmobilers that ride across people's yards and damage them and tear up the thing south of the sheriff's, drive down the new little old walkway we put in, and there's more than one complaint. Ain't squat been done on that. And you have 1 complaint on a garbage truck or 2 complaints on a garbage company, and now you want to set times, and you've had umpteen complaints on snowmobiles, and you ain't done nothing. That's all I have.
To clarify, I would like to state that we did have discussion on snowmobiles, and Chief Schaefer and I had a discussion about your complaint from last winter. There was a discussion at a council meeting on snowmobiles at that time.
I haven't seen anything done about it. You had a discussion,
Discussions don't always lead to action.
but you have a garbage company that's got 1 offense or 1 complaint, maybe 2, and now all of a sudden we're gonna jump hula hoops and screw the garbage company. You know, you treat all complaints fairly. You don't single out a garbage thing because they had 1 incident or 2 incidents, and now all of a sudden we're gonna do this, and then you've got snowmobiles that year after year after year since the ordinance been in effect. Because that wasn't my first complaint to the police department. When Wabasha was there, I complained because they drive across my yard. They do it every year that they come into town. And the thing is, you're gonna, 1, 2 complaints, you got more on snowmobiles. You treat all issues equally. You don't single out and make one a priority over another. Yes, he almost hit a kid. Garbage trucks don't go like cars 80 miles an hour dang near down these roads. Sit down on 6th Street Southwest one time and see how those people drive to the industrial park. And my area now has a bunch of little kids, preschool and all of that. And we've got a specially challenged child too down there. And they go like you know what down there. The 8th Avenue stop signs, they don't even stop.
Well, again, as I mentioned, we did discuss the snowmobile complaint in a public meeting last winter. If you'd like, we can put it up for discussion again. The reason nothing was done was because there was no council interest to change anything. If you'd like, we can put it up for discussion again, and you can come to that meeting and give your input when it's on the agenda for discussion.
That's fine, sir.
Okay, Ron? put snowmobile discussion on the next council agenda.
Get it corrected, because the thing is, they're damaging people's property.
Okay.
And the problem is, I pay my taxes, I take care of my property. And it's not enough that they're gonna pay for it, but when I have cut marks in my driveway and all of this stuff, that's malarkey, you know, for them to even be in town. The police can't catch them.
Understood. We'll have it on the next agenda, and you can present your case at that time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Have we had any kind of feedback from Vel? I know that both the other two contracted garbage haulers were here to take part in the discussion the other night, and have we had any negative feedback? I mean, maybe they're okay with this time frame. Have we heard anything?
And City Hall has not.
I haven't been contacted.
Well, when they picked up Wednesday, they were there at 5:40 at my residence. Now, what time they were in town and what time they finished, I honestly don't know. But I live on 6th Street Southwest, down, well, about 2 blocks from the old Maytag Road. And it was 5:40 when they picked up my garbage Wednesday instead of Tuesday. And I'm just assuming Tuesday they had a vehicle problem, you know, a truck broke down or whatever and they had to get fixed, is why they didn't pick it up Tuesday, they picked it up Wednesday. But like I said, they were there at 5:40.
What time do they usually pick it up for you on Tuesdays though, Shirley? What's the normal?
See, I started in December, so anything before 1 December, I don't know. They're there between 6:37, in the winter time, it's 7:30. And then, like when we had all this snow and all of this stuff, where the Highway 3 was closed, they didn't come till the next day when the stuff got cleared up. So they didn't even attempt to come over here. But normally between 6 and 6:30, or when the winter time, like I said, when the roads are bad and the weather's bad, it's between 6:30 and 7:30.
At night, Shirley?
Yes, sir. Because they say to have your garbage out there by noon, sir. And stuff.
One of the things that we did discuss the other night was, and the other two haulers were saying, 4:30 is the shut-off time for delivery to the landfill in Mason City. So that's why they are trying to arrange it that way so that they can, and start at 5 so that they can get their day more complete.
Well, and two, they may go to the landfill and empty wherever they picked up, then have Hamptons, whoever they have here. And then, you know, they can start wherever because they've emptied their truck. And two, a lot of times, they have a pickup, not the garbage truck. It's a pickup that goes around and picks up, they do everything at one time. But it's a pickup with a topper, and they drop the tailgate, they put the recycle where it goes, and they put the garbage bags. So they're evidently meeting the garbage truck somewhere, but it's a pickup that's been at my house for the last month and a half, going around, picking up in the area there of where I live. It's not it's not a garbage truck. You know, it's it's their pickup, but.
Okay. Thanks, Shirley.
Just a note that you can't pick up garbage in a pickup. So if it's my understanding that the use of that pickup was for recyclables, and they shouldn't be picking up garbage.
Well, what they did is Wednesdays, on the tailgate, they threw my garbage bags, but they did have recycle, because I had recycle. But, and like I said, I don't know where the garbage truck was. I just know that they just put on the tailgate, they dropped it, and set my 3 bags of garbage and stuff, and then went down the road. So the truck could have been down 2 blocks, north and stuff, and instead of it having to come back around, they just threw them on the tailgate and went on their way.
And just as a reminder, I would state too that no final decision has been made yet. That was strictly council discussion and consensus that we came to Monday night. The ordinance amendment will require 3 readings, the first of which is on the agenda tonight. So until all 3 readings pass, there's no change. So, any other public comment at this time? Okay. Seeing nothing else, I do have one item that I wanted to mention during public comment. Our last meeting, Milton Heidi addressed me and asked a question about a door being on my garage or something. I misunderstood him. I told him that yes, there was a garage, and upon going home from that meeting, I found Mr. Heidi at my house investigating my garage, and I misunderstood him. What he was asking was if there was an actual physical door that you can open and close. There's not. There's an opening. I had Mr. Tard check it out. I had Mr. Tard do a what I would call a nuisance audit of my property. And Doug, would you like to share your findings? I wanted to make sure to allay Mr. Heidi's complaint. So.
Sure, Mayor. Basically, I did go to the mayor's property and do as he requested. Basically, I didn't see anything that would prompt an immediate nuisance notice or anything to be served. What I did observe was, or how I would typically handle these is if one of the neighbors surrounding, and I've advised the mayor this, if one of his surrounding property owners said, you know, I believe the condition of the mayor's garage is devaluing my property, then we easily would have a notice sent to the mayor. We could discuss reshingling and making some repairs to his existing garage, or he could choose to demo his garage. But without, if I started, or Bob and I started any of these nuisances, if we were to start writing a notice for something of that nature, there's probably 50 to 100 garages in town that we can do that to. It would be unreasonable to serve a notice in that instance. The other thing too, I apologize, I was on vacation, I missed the last meeting. I may have been able to help Mr. Heidi clarify something with his garage. Mr. Heidi had commercial items stored in this garage with the doors open and the big door and what have you open for public view. I did get complaints from his neighbor. His property is zoned residential just like the mayor's. What I observed with the mayor's open doors was the mayor had residential property in his garage. He didn't have commercial storage of bleachers or steel or excess wood, lumber, or construction materials stored in public view that was inappropriate, like what was discovered at Mr. Heidi's. You know, so zoning also plays an issue when we start looking at these. But anyway, no, I didn't see anything that I would just prompt me to write a violation for to the mayor. If we start doing that, I think we're going to have a lot of problems.
Could I ask Mr. Tar a
Sure,
question, please?
go ahead.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you said no excess wood and et cetera, okay. I got from the lumberyard and stuff, because I had my house re-shingled. I put it in my back garage in the alley to keep it out of the elements. Now, it was there for 3 weeks because of the rain before the guys got there to do it. But the thing is, you know, I do, you know, have sometimes stuff like that in a garage.
That's
know.
reasonable, Shirley. That's a reasonable situation and you wouldn't be in violation.
And your doors were closed, correct?
99.9, it was a garage in the alley.
You're
And if
okay.
I was working or something and I needed the big door open, I opened it to get what I needed and then, you know,
Sure.
lock the garage up.
You're free to ask Doug and Bob any questions after the meeting. If your questions are for them, we'd like to move on with them, if that's all right.
That was all I had, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, if there's no other public comment, then we'll move on to new business. We have consideration of approval of Rick Whitney for certification as a reserve police officer authorized to carry firearm on duty upon satisfactory completion of firearms training. Chief Schaefer.
Yes, Mr. Whitney was not able to be here tonight. Mr. Whitney is a chief in Rockwell, and he had expressed interest in doing some part-time work down here. We have lost another reserve officer in Bob Kraus, and so are looking for another one, thinking that you know, somebody that's already certified, he would be able to assist us in Sunday and Monday nights, and that's kind of, you know, where we need to have some assistance, and thought that it would be a good idea to have him on board. So if we need to have him here, if you had questions for him, whatever, I guess I would ask that we do that at a later time. But if we don't, then I guess I request that we go ahead with the firearms, approval of the firearms. Once once he's gone through the, I mean, he's already certified, we still have him go through ours, just to make sure everything's kosher, so.
Any questions for the chief?
This is the current chief in Rockwell.
Yes.
Been there for a number of years.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long. Val?
Yeah, I'm not sure, I know he's been there quite a while.
Yes.
Sounds like good.
Mhm.
I have done my research as far as asking different people as far as, you know, how he would be and whatever. So,
You're satisfied?
yes.
It's good enough for me.
Entertain a motion then?
So moved, Mayor, to approve.
Okay.
Second.
A motion by Craig and a second by Dick to approve Richard Rick Whitney for certification as a reserve police officer authorized to carry firearm on duty upon satisfactory completion of firearms training. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is consideration of approval of mayoral appointments to the Hampton Municipal Communications Utility Board. Proposed roster would be James Kent for a 1-year term, Michael Barnes for a 2-year term, Jeff Christensen for 3 years, Pat Palmer for 4 years, and Wade Maysheim for 5 years. Any questions? Have any real comments on this? This board needs to get back going again. It's my understanding the citizens voted for this board to do some investigative work, and they need to get back to it, so entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Val. Motion by Dan and a second by Val to approve mayoral appointments to the Hampton Municipal Communications Utility Board as proposed. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is consideration of approval of training fire by the Hampton Fire Department at 409 First Street Southwest for July 29th, 2013 with alternate date of August 5th, 2013. Fire Chief Wilkinson is not in attendance, so I'll refer comment to Doug.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, this property is overdue for some of this work, but we do anticipate the controlled or training fire to be conducted here. And we are in a position to hopefully get another nuisance property done away with. So we're looking forward to that. Any questions?
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Entertain a motion if there's no further questions.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Val and a second by Dick to approve the application for training fire by the Hampton Fire Department at 409 First Street Southwest. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of claims as submitted by staff tonight. Those are in the amount of $158,191.62. Is there any questions on the claims?
Move to approve, Mayor.
Motion by Craig to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Diane. Motion by Craig and a second by Diane to approve the claims as submitted by staff in the amount of $158,191.62. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is introduction and consideration of approval and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. We have first resolution 2013-11, a proposed tentative labor agreement between City of Hampton, Iowa Police Department and Teamsters Local Union number 238, July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2016. I'll refer review of the agreement to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a 3-year agreement from July 1st of 13 to June 30th of 2016. I will highlight the changes. There is an, under 4.01 sentence added, seniority shall mean continuous employment with the employer beginning with the date on which the employee began work. .02, the Teamsters Local number 238 address is changed to 5000 J Street, Southwest, P.O. Box 909, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The wages, Article 14.02, the wage rates of current employees will be increased by 2.5% across the board for the first year of the agreement, by 1% across the board in the second year of the agreement, and by 1% across the board in the third year of the agreement. And then under Article 17, the signature lines, we added Secretary and Treasurer of the Union to also sign the agreement. Any questions? Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions? Entertain a motion.
So move to approve and adopt the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second?
Taking my time. Motion by Dane and a second by Dick to approve and adopt resolution 2013-11. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, got a roll call here. Eckhart?
Aye.
Lukensmeyer?
Aye.
Prowling?
Aye.
Hogaback?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution 2013-12, proposed tentative labor agreement between City of Hampton, Iowa Public Works Department and Teamsters Local Union Number 238, July 1st, 2013 to June 30th, 2016. I'll refer review to City Manager.
This agreement, essentially the same changes. The wage increase will be 2.5% first year, 1% in the following 2 years. Same as the police department, no changes other than that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. If there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Craig and a second by Dick to approve and adopt resolution 2013-12. Any discussion? Prowling?
Aye.
Eckhart?
Aye.
Hogaback?
Aye.
Lukensmeyer?
Aye.
Next, we have our amended agenda item, resolution 2013-13, a resolution ordering construction of certain public improvements and fixing a date for hearing thereon and taking bids therefore. Refer reading of the resolution to Mark Crawford with Clap Saddle Garber.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mark, you can just highlight and then I'll just read the resolution.
Yeah, I'll just talk about the project a little bit.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mark Crawford with Clap Saddle Garber Associates. This project is the 2013 HMA Overlay Improvement Project. This covers several blocks, again, in the southwest area part of town, similar to the project that was done last year about the same time. This will be a mill and overlay project. Again, we are looking to increase the durability of the ride surface by milling and overlaying what's there now. We will also be improving the cross slope as we did last year with the streets to get water to drain to the existing concrete curb and gutters and into the intakes. Other than that, if there's any questions about the project, I can answer them.
Any questions for Mark? Ron?
This is a resolution ordering construction of certain public improvements, fixing a date for hearing thereon, and taking bids therefor. Whereas it is deemed advisable and necessary to construct certain public improvements described in general as the 2013 HMA Overlay Project, and has caused to be prepared plans, specifications, and formal contract together with the estimate of cost, which are now on file in the office of the city clerk for public inspection. For the construction of the public improvements, and the plans, specifications, and form of contract are deemed suitable for the making of the public improvements. Whereas final grades have been established by ordinance consistent with the plans for all street improvements included in the proposed construction. Whereas before the plans, specs, and form of contract, estimate of cost may be adopted, and contract for the construction of public improvements is entered into, it's necessary pursuant to Chapter 26 of the Code of Iowa to hold a public hearing and to advertise for bids. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Hampton, Iowa. It's hereby determined that it's necessary and advisable to construct certain public improvements described in general as 2013 overlay project in the manner set forth in the plans and specs and form of contract. in accordance with the provisions set out in the published notice of hearing. The public improvements being more generally described as: the proposed work will involve furnishing the labor, equipment, and materials necessary for constructing the 2013 HMA overlay project in Hampton, Iowa, as shown in the plans and specs for project numbers 1633. That the amount of bid security to accompany each bid shall be an amount which shall conform to the provisions of the notice to bidders approved as part of the specifications. Be it further resolved that the city clerk be and is hereby directed to publish notice to bidders once in the Hampton Chronicle, a legal newspaper printed wholly in the English language, published at least once weekly and having general circulation in the city. Publication shall not be less than 4 clear days nor more than 45 days prior to August 6, 2013, which is hereby fixed as the date for receiving bids. The bids are to be filed prior to 10 o'clock in the morning a.m. on such date. The City Council hereby delegates to the city engineer or his designee to duty of receiving, opening, and tabulating the bids for construction of the project. Bids shall be received and opened as provided in the public notice, and the results of the bids shall be considered at the meeting of this council on August 8, 2013 at 6 o'clock p.m. Be it further resolved that the city clerk be and is hereby directed to publish notice of hearing once in such newspaper, publication to be not less than 4 clear days nor more than 20 days prior to the date hereinafter fixed as the date for a public hearing on plans, specs, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the project. The hearing to be at 6 o'clock p.m. on August 8th, 2013. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Is there any questions? If there's no questions or further discussion, then I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion by Craig and a second by Val to approve and adopt resolution 2013-13. Any discussion? Okay, we'll have a vote then. Hogaback?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Eckhart?
Aye.
Lukenmeyer?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Next is ordinance number 341, introduction and first reading. An ordinance amending chapter 106.07 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 by establishing hours of collection by authorized solid waste collectors and determining the penalties for violations. I'll refer the first reading to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Section 1, Chapter 106.07 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 is hereby amended by adding thereto new subsection, adding 1E as follows. E, hours of collection, no earlier than 5 a.m. and no collection after 6 p.m. Section 2, Chapter 106.07 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 is hereby amended by adding thereto new subsection, adding 1F as follows. F, collection violation penalties. Violations of section 106.07E by personnel of authorized solid waste collectors may each be charged by the Hampton Police Department with a municipal infraction as defined by Chapter 4 Municipal Infractions of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 and subject to standard civil penalties of section 4.03(1) or a criminal offense under section 1.14. 1. Repeat offense by personnel of an authorized solid waste collector may result in temporary or permanent revocation of collection licensing with the City of Hampton as determined and approved by the City Council. Reinstatement of a revoked solid waste collection license shall require the approval of the Council. Thank you, Mayor.
If there's no questions, I entertain a motion.
I have one question. If there's, circumstances where they're gonna be late or something, do they just contact City Hall or?
City Hall or the police department is what was discussed on.
Okay, that's, I just wanna make sure, so then they wouldn't be penalized. Or it was reasonable.
I think currently we have no hours, correct?
That's correct.
We issue them a license. Is that yearly or is that just a one-time thing?
It's yearly.
So yearly, they do have to apply and get a license, and if we have the opportunity at that time if we don't issue them a license.
Any other questions? I entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Craig, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Craig and a second by Diane to approve the first reading of ordinance number 341. Any discussion?
I think the important thing to me is that all of these scholars have an opportunity to come forward and discuss this. We're going to have 2 more readings without question. And if they do have some input that would change some of this time frame, I'll be glad to hear it.
Anything else? Move forward with the vote then. Lukensmeyer?
Aye.
Hoggback?
Aye.
Raleigh?
Aye.
Eckhart?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ordinance number 342, introduction and first reading. An ordinance amending chapter 106.08 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 by increasing the monthly landfill fees. For first reading, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 342, an ordinance amending chapter 106.08 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 by increasing the monthly landfill fees. Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Hampton, Iowa, Section 1, Chapter 106.08 landfill fee of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 is hereby amended by repealing the text of 106.08 1, 2, and 3 and replacing it with the following. 1. A monthly sum of blank, which the council will consider what amount, if such property is habitually and usually occupied and used as a single-family residential unit. 2. A monthly sum of, to be determined, if such property is a government entity, a retail or commercial business, and/or is habitually and usually occupied as used as a multifamily residential unit with 4 or less units, unless such charges are paid by the tenant of the multifamily units directly, in which event such fees shall be, to be determined, the amount for each unit. A monthly sum of blank, if such property is an industrial or manufacturing business and/or is habitually and usually occupied as used as multifamily residential with 5 or more units, and/or any hospital, nursing home, extended care facility, motel or hotel, unless such charges are paid for by the tenant of multifamily units directly, in which the event shall be determined for each unit. We have with this the associated chart for consideration by the council and it shows the current monthly fee for residential is 75 cents. And then under number 2, which is the government commercial, is $1.50. And then under number 3, it's $3. And then as I pointed out, as you'll notice on number 2 and 3, it talks at the end of each paragraph, it talks about unless the tenant is paying. Then I would recommend that depending on what you choose for an amount to charge under number 1, I suggest that you make it part of your motion that amount under number 1 gets put in for the amounts if the tenant is paying as well. We've got some options there for the council to consider, different increases. On the first column is a 50-cent increase, second one 60-cent increase, third one 65-cent, and the fourth one 70-cent increase. And then the associated revenues, the corresponding revenues for each potential increase. For the public's benefit, total expenses, roughly $29,000 for landfill fee, annual expenses for the city. Currently we're bringing in, we've got current revenue is $17,600, so we've got roughly $11,000 shortfall. If we increase the fees 50 cents per month, the revenue would be an annual revenue of about $27,978. A couple $1,000 under what we need for expenses. If we increase 60 cents per month, that'd be around $30,000, which would cover the expenses. If we increase 65 cents a month, the associated revenues would be $31,000, so a couple thousand over our expected expenses. And then finally, 70 cents a month increase would have an annual revenue of $32,000. Any questions from council?
One thing I didn't ask Monday was the difference, the industrial, we have 13 units in the industrial hospital, hotels, residential units, 4 or larger. The only industrial business is affected, are they the ones in Orange industrial park? Or do we have other industrial within the city limits, I mean, inside the limits, city limits of Hamilton, other than that?
Well, like Hampton Hydraulics up here. I didn't do a printout of who all the 13 are, but it would be hospitals, nursing homes, things like that, and any industrial, yeah. And then any multifamily unit with 5 units or more.
Does the fee to the landfill at North Iowa change, or is that?
It hasn't recently. It could. I don't know. Have you heard of any
There was,
discussions?
before I went off the board, there was talk of a potential increase. And I know that some other communities have increased their landfill fees to their citizens based on that. Have not heard of any official action. Russ is our current representative on that board, so have you heard, Doug, from Russ on that?
No, I haven't, but one thing I'd like to throw out is part of that fee, the North Iowa landfill also has to have that certain dollar amount set aside for closure, for permanent closure at some point in time. So that's part of how they help regulate their fees and such as well. So that's always a potential that that could go up a little bit. But as of right now, I haven't heard if they would.
As far as the Franklin County landfill fee, that went on until 2026, is that right?
Right.
And then that's done.
Yeah, that's right.
And we've had increases in that over the last few years.
Last few years, yeah, substantial
This
increases.
has caused our scale to kind of tip the wrong way.
Any other questions? Ask when you make your motion, you also include a increase amount.
I make a motion that we increase each of these categories by 50 cents per month, increase them equally, and that we approve this first reading of this ordinance with fee increases.
You say 50 cents?
60 cents, excuse me, 60 cents. We're trying to get it to, yes, thank you. That brings us up to even down, 60 cents.
Good second that here. Okay.
And then the tenant rate would be the same as the residential rate.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Which would be $1.35, I believe.
Okay, so I have a motion by Dick and a second by Craig to increase by 60 cents per month for each of the levels.
And if we, sorry for interrupting, Mayor, specify in the motion that the new monthly sum for number 1, which is residential, if you increase by 60 would be $1.35. The new monthly sum for commercial government would be $2.10, and then corresponding $1.35 for that tenant paid under number 2. And the industrial hospitals, hotels would be $3.60 per month, and the tenants would pay the $1.35. If that's
Thank you.
clear. Okay.
Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Who seconded that, Brad?
Craig.
Thank you.
Have the roll call vote then. Crowley?
Aye.
Luthensmeyer?
Aye.
Eckhart?
Aye.
Hogaback?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is ordinance number 343, an introduction and first reading, an ordinance amending chapter 92 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 by increasing the monthly charge on water service billing allocated to the solid waste fund for Hampton compost site expenses. I would refer first reading to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 343, an ordinance amending chapter 92.02 of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 by increasing the monthly compost site fees. Be it enacted by the City Council of the City of Hampton, Iowa. Section 1, Chapter 92.02 Rates for Service of the Hampton Municipal Code of 2009 is hereby amended by repealing the text within the rate schedule regarding an added charge allocated to the solid waste fund and replacing it with the following. There shall be an added charge of blank to be determined by the council to each bill allocated to the solid waste fund for the cost of maintaining the Hampton compost and brush site. Thank you, Mayor. And then the second page is a chart with, we show total expenses for the compost brush site, $14,000. And we've projecting a current shortfall of $3,600. On the right, we've got 3 potential increase increments. First one, a quarter, which would show a revenue of $15,500, which would be over by $1,500 of what we need to cover the expenses. If we increased the fee 50 cents, we would get $20,000 in revenue, which would be double or $6,000 more. And then increase 75 cents, we would get a revenue of $25,890.
Questions, discussion on rate of increase?
Expenses include salaries, grinding of branches over 6 inches, miscellaneous items, some advertising, some supplies, maybe dust control, things like that.
The one thing that could affect this is if our current burning policy does fail, we're going to certainly experience more grinding, but at this point, it looks like it's working.
That's correct.
Again, I'd ask to indicate with your motion the amount of increase that you wish to see.
I'd make a motion to increase it by 25 cents and to approve the first reading.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
So I have a motion by Diane and a second by Val to increase by 25 cents and approve the first reading of ordinance 343 with that 25-cent fee increase. Is there any further discussion? Move forward with the vote then. Eckhart?
Aye.
Hogaback?
Aye.
Lukensmeyer?
Aye.
Crowley?
Aye.
Was that an aye, Dave? That's what I got you down for.
Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to confirm. Motion carries, thank you. Next is the consent agenda tonight that it includes approving the previous minutes as drafted from the Thursday, June 27th, 2013 regular session meeting. Scheduling the next regular session for Thursday, July 25th, 2013 at 6 p.m. in City Council chambers. Approval of liquor licensing renewal for Fairway Store number 902 at 309 Central Avenue West in Hampton, and approval of liquor licensing renewal for Pit Row LLC 19 Federal Street North in Hampton, Iowa. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Val and a second by Dick to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next we have staff reports. Fire Chief Wilkinson is not with us. Police Chief Schaefer.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. Don't have a whole lot for tonight. We do have a motorcycle. I know one of the officers had it out last night. Been a little warm during the day, but they did have it out last night. Hopefully we're gonna be able to utilize that more this summer. Give you an update on Unit 1. We did have an incident that we needed to have the window regulator replaced because the window on the driver's side wouldn't go up and down, but at that time we also got, basically had it into the shop to have the front light fixed from about 2 months ago when there was a drunk driver that backed into the squad car after the officer had pulled him over. So, and they did have insurance, so that will be taken care of with their insurance. We have continued the nuisance efforts, and from what I can tell here, from July 1st through July 10th, we had 6 letters that were served, of which there are 3 of those are closed and 3 are open. That can change from time to time because today I wrote 3 more of them that haven't been served yet. So We're trying to get around and get those done as we can. And I encourage anybody, if there's something out there that we're missing or don't get around to doing, give it to us and we'll definitely go and get something written up on it. So, does anybody have any questions?
I was stopped today when I was walking, and a gal talked to me about, there's a house that she couldn't find the street address, but it's on Second Avenue Northwest, and it's on between the 7th and 8th Street block.
Okay.
It's kind of I drove by it on my way here, and her main complaint was the amount of cars that are parked on the lawn, and it faces south. I don't know which one
I think I know which one you're talking about.
So she just wanted me to mention that,
Okay.
because she says it's pretty regular.
All right. Yeah, I think she's right.
Thank you.
Anything else
Anybody
for
else?
Chief?
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mayor. I think basically, we all know parade's coming up this next week. Fair Parade's a great time. Love that day. I mean, everybody kind of gets real excited in the community, and it's great to showcase our community for all the visitors. But just kind of asking citizens and such, you know, once parade's done, just try real hard maybe to collect the trash and debris a little bit that's left over. We will go and sweep the route before and after. But just want to remind folks to maybe try to do that. It does help things out a little bit with staff time. But other than that, kind of got a lot going on this summer. You know, a lot of nuisance stuff. Chief and I were in the squad car together earlier this week and went by a few more properties, looking at a few things, and you know, some stuff that you know, been brought up on concerns too from my citizens, and making a little bit of headway. Some of the things that I've written are being taken care of as we speak. I noticed one property in particular, I think on the highway, had some trees being removed and different things right now, and that was due to some communication and unfortunately notices, but we're making some headway. But other than that, staff's been real busy, and the heat, I'm sure, has been stressful for a lot of them because they've been out in it a little bit. So hats off to them for giving it their all. And any questions?
Again, I had some people stop by, and then I was stopped the other day walking. I had a couple things. On the corner of 5th Street Southwest and 3rd Avenue Southwest, there's some tree branches that go over the street, and they said they've contacted City Hall before, but they're concerned that the branches are gonna break off, and
we will get some growth spurts once in a while. If they're dangerous, we'll get them. If not, we'll do the tree trimming typically in the fall, in the winter time, when there's no foliage on there. But we can sure take a look at them to see if they're actually gonna brush, because we do try to keep a canopy up. We do have some, I think it's 13 feet above the street roughly, and I know the guys have a stick they take out, and I think it's 15 foot tall. We made some great headway in the past couple of years with trimming and stuff, so, but we'll take a look.
these are dead.
They're dead limbs?
They're
Okay.
dead limbs, because I went and walked by it just
Sure.
to make sure, but I just told them I would mention that. And then also had a gal stop, she said there's like insulation and miscellaneous things from the trailer park, like garbage blowing into her yard and yards
Okay.
nearby, like to the east.
I can have a discussion with Mr. Havlin. He's a new owner down there in the
Okay.
past year or so, and he's really made some really good improvements down there. So, but you know, with improvements, construction debris and different things may get away from a guy. So I think just a phone call to him, and I can do that. That'd be great.
Thank you, Doug.
You bet.
Anything else for Doug? Thank you. Rhonda?
As Doug mentioned in his report, we attended a meeting at the Law Enforcement Center this week with Homeland Security and FEMA, and there were representatives from all the communities that were declared in, I think, Wright and Franklin County, declared eligible by the President for public assistance. And our City of Hampton's losses are what I would categorize as minimal, so I'm not sure if we'll proceed seeking public assistance or not, but we attended the organizational meeting if we think we have enough to seek some reimbursement. Today, we had a site visit from the Vision Iowa CAT grant program director. We met down there, Doug and I, Jason Gooder, and Jay Waddingham. She toured Progress Park, the Aquatic Center. The county guys had a couple of four-wheelers, six-wheelers, I guess, that we rode on so that she could see the bridge and the trail links. And basically, it's part of the closeout process. She's verifying that we built what we said we were going to build, and what we agreed to by contract. And she'll follow up with a letter explaining some of the final documents that we need to provide to them to get it closed out. An update on the wastewater treatment plant. I don't know a whole lot other than we thought we'd be under construction by now, and we're not. And our engineer, Tom Madden, has been communicating with Iowa DNR. It seems that they're trying to work out, the DNR has a different opinion as to some of the design of the system that Tom has designed, and so Tom is trying to work it out with the DNR, and I indicated to him that I'd like to have him come to the council meeting and give us an update, and so he'll be doing that hopefully for the next meeting or the one after that. We wish we were under construction, but we're not, and so we'll just keep pushing and working it so that we can get it moving. That's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
Council reports tonight, Craig?
Thank you, Mayor. We'll stop by a couple of people with positive comments about things that they read in the paper about the conversation we had at our committee meeting versus this enrollment in regards to a step program that people, these particular people felt something should be done, not only for the driver's license, that wasn't their main concern, but just letting the police presence be known, to slow down traffic and to just keep an eye on people rolling through stop signs and the yield signs in particular. They've pointed out that they get to be kind of just a passing fancy. They just look at them and go on. But anyway, it's positive feedback. I'd like to thank Mr. Whitney for stepping up and allowing to serve our community. It sounds like he's had a pretty good tenure in Rockwell. I've heard about him before. My brother-in-law and sister live up there. It was favorable. So. Thank the members of the Municipal Communications Utility Board for stepping up. And then the last thing is to have everybody enjoy the fair, have a good time.
Okay. Great. That's it. Dan?
The only thing I have is I'm pleased that we're getting rid of one more house. Things will look better, and then just to enjoy the fair next week.
Vic?
Just a comment on Progress Park Aquatic Center. It's been very enjoyable to drive by in the early evening hours, not between 5 and 6 is closed, but in the late afternoons and in the evenings with the warm weather. The pool's been heavily used. You have seen people on the basketball courts, on the skateboard park. There's been a regular attendance on Wednesday nights with some adults at the tennis courts and other nights also. So. The project, I think that probably CAT grant director saw what she was hoping she would see when she got here, a nice complete project.
She asked us, or she congratulated us on the planting the people, the users today in the park. So we didn't plant them there, it's usually busy. So.
Anything else, Lee?
That's it.
Val?
Nothing, thanks.
I don't have anything for tonight either, but can look forward to hearing from me shortly on whether or not I'm gonna seek re-election. I'll be sending another press release next week, so I make my call. So, if there's nothing else, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Dick, second by Diane to adjourn. If there's no discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7:02. keep over engineering.